The apartment is bathed in the oversaturated, burning orange glow of a sunset that seems fixed in the sky. Dust motes dance in the shafts of light like suspended gold. The silence is heavy, pressing against the walls. Kael sits at the small, round kitchen table. His posture is rigid. His hands rest on the wooden surface, intertwined so tightly the knuckles are white. Across from him sits Elara. She is looking out the window, her silhouette framed by the blinding light. She does not move. She does not breathe. She is a perfect stillness. The narration observes that the coffee in the mug before Kael has ceased to steam. The liquid is stagnant, a black mirror reflecting a face that looks too tired for its age. Kael's eyes are fixed on Elara's shoulder. He is waiting for the rise and fall of a breath that does not come. The room feels artificial. The lines of the furniture are too sharp, the colors too vibrant. It is a painted background in a world that has forgotten to animate. Kael blinks, and for a single frame, the walls seem to flicker with static, revealing gray concrete beneath the wallpaper, before snapping back to the warm, domestic illusion. The scene shifts abruptly. The lighting changes from burning orange to a piercing, impossible cerulean blue. Cherry blossom petals fall not with the randomness of nature, but in a rhythmic, looping pattern. They drift past Kael's face. He is walking beside Elara. Here she is animated. She turns, her hair whipping around her face in slow motion, catching the sunlight. Her mouth moves in laughter, but the world remains utterly silent. The narration notes that the sound has been stripped away, leaving only the visual echo of joy. Kael reaches out to tuck a strand of hair behind her ear. His hand passes through the space where the hair should be, meeting a subtle resistance, like pushing through water. He ignores this physics violation. His mind edits the error instantly. In the next moment, his hand is solid again, resting against her cheek. The camera angle tilts dramatically, looking down from a high vantage point. The shadows cast by the couple do not match their movements. Elara's shadow is not holding hands with Kael's. Her shadow is standing 5 feet away, motionless, watching them. Kael does not look down. He focuses entirely on the brightness of her eyes, which are rendered with excessive detail, shimmering galaxies that threaten to swallow him whole. The apartment is now dark, lit only by the blue glow of a digital clock that reads midnight and never advances. The room is filled with canvases, all covered in sheets. Kael stands in the center of the room. The psychological pressure manifests in the clutter. Books are stacked in precarious towers that defy gravity. The air is thick with the scent of turpentine and old rain. Elara is sitting on the floor, her back to him. She is weeping. Her shoulders shake rhythmically. Kael steps forward. The floorboards do not creak. The distance between them seems to stretch. For every step he takes, the hallway elongates, a classic visual distortion of anxiety. The walls begin to bleed ink, dark rivulets running down the floral wallpaper. He reaches her. He touches her shoulder. She turns around. Her face is blank. Not expressionless, but literally blank. Smooth skin where features should be. The horror of the erasure is sudden and clinical. Kael recoils. He stumbles back, knocking over an easel. As the easel hits the ground, it shatters into glass shards rather than wood. The noise is visualized by a jagged fracture appearing in the air itself. The reality is breaking. The narration confirms that Kael's memory is degrading. He can no longer recall the specific curve of her nose or the exact shade of her lips. The data is corrupted. The warm sunset is gone. The blue sky is gone. The world is now a monochrome sketch, pencil lines rough and frantic. The background creates a sense of claustrophobia. Kael sits in the chair, clutching his head. The camera zooms in rapidly on his pupil, dilating in panic. Elara stands in the doorway. She is glitching. Her form shifts rapidly between outfits. A summer dress, a winter coat, a hospital gown. She flickers like a failing hologram. The environment reacts to Kael's internal distress. The windows blow out, not outward, but inward, exploding into a storm of white petals that turn into ash as they touch the floor. She is trying to speak. The visual representation of her voice is a chaotic scribble that fills the air around her. Jagged lines of dialogue that Kael cannot parse. He covers his ears, but the scribbles grow louder, dominating the visual space, crowding him, suffocating him with the things he knows she would say if she were real. You have to let go. This isn't breathing. You are eating dust. The text appears on the walls, scratched into the plaster. Kael screams, a silent, open-mouthed cry of absolute rejection. He squeezes his eyes shut. The scene transitions to a vast, flooded train station under a twilight sky. The water on the tracks reflects a galaxy that doesn't exist. This is the border of his subconscious. Kael stands on the platform. Opposite him, on the other platform across the tracks, stands Elara. She is clear now. High definition. No glitches. She wears simple clothes, the colors muted. She looks sad, but peaceful. Between them, a train rushes past. It is a blur of light and shadow, wind and noise. The narration describes the train as the passage of time that Kael has been freezing. Through the gaps in the rushing cars, Kael catches glimpses of her. She is mouthing a goodbye. She is pointing to the exit sign behind him. Kael steps toward the edge of the platform. He wants to jump the tracks. He wants to join her in the memory. If he crosses, he creates a permanent psychosis. The temptation is visualized as black tendrils rising from the water, wrapping gently around his ankles, inviting him down into the deep, comfortable dark. Elara shakes her head. She places a hand on her own chest, over her heart, and then extends her palm toward him. A single cherry blossom petal floats across the tracks, undisturbed by the violent wind of the train. It lands in Kael's hand. Feels cold. Real cold. Not the warmth of a memory. The transition is a hard cut to sterile white. The lighting is harsh, fluorescent, unforgiving. There is no magic here. No saturation. Kael sits in a plastic chair. He is hunched over, his body language speaking of exhaustion rather than tension. The bed in front of him is empty. It has been made with military precision. The sheets are flat. The narration observes the emptiness of the room. There are no flowers. There are no personal items. Those were packed away hours ago. Kael looks at his hand. He is holding a crumpled receipt from the hospital cafeteria. It is the only physical object anchoring him to the present. He looks at the window. The reflection shows a man who looks older than the one in the Sunset apartment. There are dark circles under his eyes. His hair is unkempt. For a moment, in the reflection of the glass, he sees her silhouette standing behind him, a ghost of the mind. He watches the reflection, waiting for it to move, waiting for the delusion to take hold again. The temptation to slip back into the orange sunset is palpable. The narration describes the physical pull, a vertigo of the soul. Kael closes his eyes. He takes a breath. It is a shaky, ragged intake of air. When he opens his eyes, the reflection is just his own. The silhouette is gone. He stands up. His legs are heavy. He walks to the door. He pauses, his hand hovering over the light switch. He looks back at the empty space where the bed is. The narration notes that he is not leaving her behind. He is carrying the absence of her, which is heavier than her presence ever was. He flicks the switch. Kael steps out of the hospital doors. The world is loud. Cars, people, wind. The animation style shifts to something gritty and realistic. The colors are duller than his dream, but they are solid. They do not glitch. He begins to walk. The camera pulls back, rising higher and higher, turning Kael into in the sprawling, indifferent city. It begins to rain. The rain is not symbolic. It is just water. It soaks his coat. It makes him shiver. The narration concludes with the observation of the sensation of cold wetness on his skin. It is uncomfortable. It is miserable. And it is the first real thing he has felt in months. He keeps walking.